And you know, you get advertising. In terms of advertising, let's just talk about advertising for a little bit. Advertising gives you a perspective of what to get, when to get it, how to get it, right? How do you exactly market your brands in such a way that you get to the needed target market, of course, as well as to actually because it sounds like you're trying to build some level of consciousness in your consumers. Like, how do you exactly do that? If you do that, of course. Taryn? Because I know you're very big on consciousness and
Yes.
being very, like, absolutely, and marketing, of course. Marketing,
Yes.
your consciousness, you even refer to hair as a cultural and psychosocial and psychological thing.
So I call it a social, psychological, cultural, economical beast. That is hair. It is all-encompassing. I mean, if you think about colorism, texturism, perfectly imperfect research, the journey of hair when it leaves an Indian temple and finally arrives on your head as a weave, the transition of people to Afro products, the fact that there is hundreds of us little brands making up 14% market share of a 7 billion rand hair industry. We're growing at 24% a year. The conglomerates like Procter & Gamble, L'Oreal, Amcor, Unilever are only growing at 3.5%. So there's opportunity here, and all of that needs to be taken into consideration when you're building and marketing a brand. It's not just like the psychology of the consumer you're thinking about. You're thinking about how to reach her in a voice that she'll hear you in. So authenticity and personalization are two key pillars in the business. Everything that we go to market with, whether we're talking business of hair, psychology of hair, economy of hair, culture of hair, and everyone is important, by the way. Your communication must be able to transfer all of those pillars because everything matters to her. And authenticity, trust, localization, personalize your tone. We spend a lot of time doing that in our brand build because it's the only thing that sets us apart from very big brands like Unilever, who have millions of marketing budgets. I might have 10K a month to work with. That's a very, very, very different ballgame. So when I speak, I've got to remember to use your voice. I've got to remember to use your feedback. I've got to remember to reflect your journey and the fact that it's all about you. So for us, marketing has been, and especially social media marketing, has been integral into giving us a voice in a market that you not normally would have gained access to.
Prof, I am of the opinion that authenticity is cultivated at home. Your home determines how you view yourself, how you view your environment, and how you view things generally as a person. Now, we're in a media age, or some people call it the fourth industrial revolution. As Kosho, infrastructure, according to me, we don't have the infrastructure to be in the fourth industrial revolution, but kuchiwo. We are in the fourth industrial revolution, and social media plays a huge role in how people view themselves, right? There's advertising there that shows us that actually we aren't good enough. And by we, I mean particularly African people. We are not good enough. There's a certain way that we need to look. There's a certain aesthetic we need to appease in order for us to be referred to as acceptable. And our hair and our skin determines a lot of that. And I know you write a lot about, I know you've mentioned skin bleaching, but what is the importance of cultivating an authenticity rooted in yourself and your natural image? Is there anything important about cultivating such an authenticity?
Yeah, thanks. I think that's a very important and crucial question because that's what everything around us revolves around that. So And media influences what we do and how we behave and what we believe in. And particularly now in the age of social media. So in the past, many years ago, if you look at the adverts, I had pictures in my presentations, the adverts used to show, if the adverts were targeting Caucasians, and at that time, sun tanning was a hype. So you would see a very, some of you may not know, but you young, copper tone sun creams. So you'd apply this copper tone oil and then you lie in the beach and they have this bronze brown skin like the Brazilians, you know, nice looking skin. And that's what they were advertising. Now with time, the adverts changed and the skin color that they were using is like lightish, because now we knew that the darker your skin, if you're Caucasian, the higher the chances of you getting skin cancer. So it came with research and education. So the same thing with Africans and African Americans or mixed races. What is happening now, when kids watch TV and they see light-skinned presenters or models with long hair or with straight hair, that's what they aspire to. Your children also, when they go to private schools and their teachers have got, you know, long hair and they are light-skinned, and there's nobody that they can identify with. The only black person they see is the one who's cleaning the toilets or the gardens. So that's about role modeling. Even at universities, that's why even now there's decolonization and the transformation, because you want to see someone who looks like you, then you know that, oh, I can be that person too. So, and I always say that if you are first in anything, you have a social and political responsibility to bring more people into that, which is why it has always been my drive. Also, I'm not trying to talk about myself, but I'm sharing my experience, because I was one of the first black few dermatologists, but I've trained about 30 African dermatologists now. Because when you see, so when you see people like you, then you want to be like that person. And you guys, wherever you come from, whether it's a location or village or where, you go back to your places and be the role model to the people that you come from. So in terms of the skin and hair, it is true that the celebrities, they are bleaching their skin. They are using glutathione, IV glutathione. They are using a whole lot of things. There are products that are safe to use for pigmentation, and pigmentation is a problem with black skin. As I mentioned, black skin and white skin, they're different. Black skin tends to heal with keloids and scars. You heard what Rep said when she had a car accident. And then white skin tends to heal very well, not lots of scars, but they are prone to skin cancer. The other thing about black skin and black hair is that the black skin tends to be dry, so we need lots of moisturizers, and our hair is very dry and very difficult to manage, which is why it's good to have people like my friends here who are coming up with products, because it's well and good for me to say keep your hair natural, but how? I can't be combing my hair every day. I don't have time. I just put on my wig and my duke and I go, you know. So we need to provide for that. So our just on a basic understanding of physiology, African hair is curly. We know that. African, you know, there's 7 types of hair, right? Yeah. If you compare my hair and her hair and yours and Taryn's hair, it's different. Taryn's hair is probably less easier to manipulate than my hair. And my hair may be much easier, because I also have mixed blood, much more easier to manipulate than your hair, because the more authentic you are as an African, I'll call it like that, the more curlier your hair is, and the more dry it is. Asians and Caucasians don't want to see grease on their hair. They hate grease on their hair because the hair looks sticky and funny. But we have to put loads of grease to make our hair soft, okay? So now what do you do in between? And it's important, I mean, they'll tell you, my colleagues will tell you to use conditioners. Most of us don't know that you have to wash your hair. Once a week is fine. Shampooing once a week, that's fine. Once a week is totally okay to wash your hair.
Not once a month.
Not once a month. Yeah, once a week, yeah. Once a week, yeah. Otherwise, if you wash your hair once a week, I know I'm flipping between the topics, yeah. Yeah. So otherwise you get dandruff, you get, you know, scaly, and it's difficult to manage. Yeah. So media has a lot to do with what we see and then what we want to do. Even the wigs and weaves, they came from social media, and we always try to ape what the Americans are doing, isn't it? And then, but again, African Americans are heterogeneous, meaning that they are a mixture. So we can't really do what they do all the time because we are unique in our skin and our hair. Yeah.
Of course. Thank you so much for that.